The rain had been falling all afternoon, the kind of slow, heavy rain that makes the world sound like it's grieving. Daniel Harper sat in his car, staring through the windshield at the small wooden house he'd grown up in. The paint was peeling now, the windows fogged from age. Inside, somewhere behind those walls, was a man Daniel hadn't spoken to in 7 years, his father. He wasn't sure why he had come. The call from the nurse still echoed in his head. "Mr. Harper, your father doesn't have much time left." Daniel had simply hung up. No words, no emotion, just silence. Now he was here, and that silence, the one that had grown between them for years, was heavier than the rain outside. 15 years earlier, Daniel had been a kid with a dream. A guitar in his hands and a head full of songs. His father, John Harper, had been a factory worker. Quiet, proud, and stubborn. "Music won't pay the bills," his father had said, slamming the kitchen table one night. "You're wasting your life, Daniel." Daniel had shouted back, "At least I have a life, Dad. Not just work, eat, sleep, repeat." The words hung in the air like broken glass. His father's face turned red, but his voice trembled when he said, "If you walk out that door tonight, don't come back." Daniel did. He left, and never came back. The city had swallowed him whole. He played guitar in bars, slept on couches, lived off cheap coffee and half-dreams. There were nights he wanted to call home, to tell his dad he'd made it onto a small record label, that his song had been played on a local radio station. But pride is a heavy thing. It builds walls higher than distance ever could. And every time he thought about picking up the phone, he'd remember his father's face that night. The anger, the disappointment. So he didn't call. Not even when his mother passed away. He had gone to the funeral, yes, but John Harper hadn't spoken to him. Just one glance, cold, unblinking, and then turned away. Daniel had left before the service even ended. That was 7 years ago. The nurse greeted him at the door with a sad smile. "He's weak," she said softly. "Hasn't spoken much, but he's been waiting for you." Daniel's heart twisted. "Waiting for me?" She nodded. "Every night he asks, 'Did Daniel call today?'" He stepped inside. The house smelled the same, like old books, dust, and the faint scent of pipe tobacco. On the table sat a framed photo. His parents on their wedding day, and a younger version of himself smiling between them. He followed the sound of slow breathing into the bedroom. His father looked smaller than he remembered. The man who'd once seemed carved from stone was now frail, his skin pale, his eyes half closed. "Dad!" The old man stirred, opened his eyes. "Daniel!" he whispered. That one word, it shattered something inside Daniel that he didn't even know was still there. They talked. Awkwardly at first. Small things. Weather. Health. The nurse. Then silence again. There were 1,000 things Daniel wanted to say, and not one of them could fit into words. After a while, his father closed his eyes and said softly, "There's a letter in the drawer. For you." Daniel frowned. A letter. But the old man had already drifted back to sleep. He sat there for a long time, listening to the rain tapping against the window, and then, quietly, he opened the drawer. Inside was a single envelope, yellowed with age. His name written in a shaky hand. "To my son, Daniel." He hesitated before opening it. "My son, I know you'll probably never read this, but I write it anyway because I need to say what I couldn't when you were still here. I was wrong. I thought I was protecting you by pushing you toward stability. I forgot that sometimes love isn't about protection. It's about belief. You wanted to fly. I clipped your wings because I was afraid to lose you. But I did lose you, not to the world, but to my pride. Your mother used to tell me, 'John, one day he'll forgive you.' I never believed her. But every night, I prayed she was right. If you ever read this, son, I just want you to know. I always was proud of you, even when I didn't show it. Especially then. Dad." The words blurred as Daniel's tears fell onto the page. He pressed the letter to his chest, whispering, "Why didn't you send it, Dad? Why didn't you just tell me?" A weak voice from the bed answered, "Because I didn't think you'd want to hear it." Daniel turned. His father was awake. Tears filled the old man's eyes, and for the first time in years, Daniel reached out and held his father's hand. "I did," he whispered. "I always did." John Harper passed away the next morning, peacefully, with his son sitting by his side, holding the same hand that once pointed him out the door. At the funeral, Daniel played his guitar, the same one his father had once told him to put away. The song was soft, slow, the kind that carries both pain and love in every note. When it ended, he looked up and smiled faintly. "Dad, this one's for you." Years later, Daniel Harper became a successful songwriter, but not the kind that sang about fame or fortune. He wrote about time, regret, love, and forgiveness, and every concert ended with the same story. He'd tell the crowd about a letter that changed his life, one that reminded him that it's never too late to forgive, but sometimes too late to say it. Then he'd hold up a small, framed photograph of his father, smile gently, and say, "If you still have someone to forgive, don't wait for the letter. Words left unsaid have the power to echo forever. Say, 'I love you.' Say, 'I'm sorry.' Don't let pride write your silence. Words left unsaid have the power to echo forever. Say, 'I love you.' Say, 'I'm sorry.' Don't let pride write your silence."